All right, I'm ready.
Hi, it's Vicky's first time I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to tell it one time and one time only. I grew up in Atlanta. I have two brothers, one sister, and my parents divorced when I was about 14. So I started selling drugs, and I sold drugs for a while, actually.
Are you originally from Atlanta?
Siblings.
Are you?
Then,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you originally from Atlanta?
No, I'm from Syracuse, New York.
Okay, so at what age did you move here?
I moved here when I was really small. Like, I moved here from Wheeling, West Virginia. My parents, they used to travel a lot. So I moved here probably when I was about 5.
Okay. What kind of work did your mom and dad do?
My dad did upholstery work, and my mom, she worked in the hotel field. Like, she worked at the front desk at the Marriott for a long time.
Gotcha. And how would you describe your childhood?
At first, I had a pretty good childhood. We grew up Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
And then my mom, she was really, really, really controlling. So my dad, he ended up leaving.
When you say your mom was controlling, what do you mean?
She was really controlling as far as everything in her relationship, in the household, just everything.
Okay.
And so, one day my dad just was like, "Hey, I'm leaving." Well, he didn't even say anything. He left. And we just watched my mom kind of just crumble. She got on crack. And
how old were you when you realized that your mom was on crack?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I was 12 when she got on crack. I was 12, but so, I ended up having to pretty much stand up because, we were being put out. Our utilities were getting cut off and everything. I was really young too, but I had a little babysitter's club, so I babysat kids and stuff like that. And my aunt, she worked at McDonald's. She lived with us. It just was like everything was crumbling. So I started selling drugs.
Okay. When you say you started selling drugs, what drugs did you start with?
I started selling crack.
Okay, and I'm saying, so is it somebody that's showing you the ropes, or you how does that go?
Well, I met these boys with one of my friends when I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
And
what school were you going to in 8th grade?
I went to Sandy Springs Middle School.
Okay.
Well, I went to Sequoia first, and then I went to Sandy Springs.
You went to Sequoia Middle School?
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. I went to Sequoia for a while.
Really? Yeah, I lived on Beaufort Highway.
I lived on Beaufort Highway. I used to live at the Lodge on Beaufort Highway, and the Lodge on Shallowford, and the Lodge. Any hotel in the Beaufort Highway area, I have pretty much lived there.
Really?
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have too. I've stayed at all those hotels. Just, Pearl Lane, all of that. Like,
Yep, that's the hood.
I was young though. But anyway, he gave me a whole bunch of crack. And he was like, "Hey, these are 50s, these are 20s, these are 100s. And he left. He was like, "Well, sell this while I'm gone." I didn't even know this dude for real, but I was like, okay. So when he came back, he asked for his money, and I gave him all but $500. I was like, "Baby, no." Like, I made that money, so if the police would have came, I would have went to jail. I'm not giving you all this money.
Yeah.
And me and him got into it about it, but he ended up respecting me. He was like, "All right." And I was like, "Now tell me what I could do with this." He was like, "Hey, put that $100 up, take this 4, and go get you a half ounce." And from there, that's what I was doing. I was selling crack at school, selling crack everywhere. I was selling drugs, not murdering.
Gotcha. So you are full-time selling drugs at 12?
No, I was like 13 when I started selling drugs. That's the thing. Like, I was so young. I seen so much so young. I was young. I was in 8th grade. So.
Okay, you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers and an older sister.
Okay, what were they doing at this time?
I was like looking out for my little brothers, but my older sister, she was just in school. She was always in school. She always made good grades. She always was like, just trying to make me do the right thing. But it was either that. My family was kind of struggling,
Yeah. Okay, so while you was selling drugs, what was mom at?
My mom, I didn't live with her anymore. I lived with my dad. My mom, she was on crack.
Okay.
But let me say this. I have a really good mother.
Okay.
Like, I had a great mother. Like, she never left for real. She always was welcome to my dad's house. So she never really just left us. She was always with her kids, but she just didn't have the means to support us, I guess.
Gotcha.
She was just, down.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
All right. So the people that you ran up with, what's they mindset when
he went and read up. He took me.
Oh, okay.
And he introduced me to these 2 guys that he used to read up with or whatever.
Okay.
But I did that for a while with him, and then he went to jail. Back then it was nothing but pagers. So then I just took over from there when he went to jail. And I was young. I was like, when he got out, I was like 15.
Yeah.
And, I was all the way fully in the street by then.
Yeah.
But I stayed in school. Like, if I stayed out all night, I went to school in the morning. I didn't quit school.
So so at 15, what school was you going to?
I was going to Sandy Springs.
Okay.
And then I started going to North Springs High School.
Okay. So what was you trapping at?
Gwinnett.
Okay.
Gwinnett and hold on 1 second. Okay, so go ahead.
So you trapping you trapping in Gwinnett?
I started out in Chamblee.
Okay.
Like Chamblee, Tucker, Gothland, La Hose. I don't know if you remember all that. The Motel 6.
Man, I have stayed in Valley Oaks, Ashley Oaks, Hacienda.
Oh yeah, Hacienda, all that. Do you remember the lynch mob and lynch?
Yeah, I remember the lynch mob. I remember they had a little gathering in Chateau Monte.
Chateau Monte. I used to be around there, baby.
Yeah, that's crazy. You might know my sister, but I ain't gonna bring her name up till later on.
Okay.
But so you in the hood, you trapping, and you going to school.
Like, I was a good girl though. Like, I still hadn't even had sex or anything. I was just trapping, and I was trapping with him.
Okay.
And he went to jail, and then when he got out, we picked back up.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting pregnant by him. And that's how I had my first daughter. And my daughter, she used to be with me, but my mom, she did drugs, but my mom, she used to stay in the house and babysit for me. I just, I supported whatever my mom wanted to do. I love my mom.
Okay.
I was really, really close to my mom.
Okay. And so, how are your grades in school while you up all night trapping?
It's so funny and it's so crazy because, like, I would be falling asleep in class. Like, I would be so tired. But if I had to copy somebody's work, I did what I had to do. It got hard. It did. It got really hard, like, trying to keep up with my schoolwork and stuff. And they finally, I really got North Springs rated for drugs. And they put me out, and I started going to Independence. And then, I just got my GED, but I went to real estate school without a GED.
Okay. So while you trapping, have you had any encounters where you just realized that this some real some real life stuff I got going on.
Oh yeah, like well, one time at the in Indian Trail, you know, we got robbed. My baby dad's best friend got killed right there. We got the whole shootout, everything. I've seen so much. I've seen so much with crackheads and everything. I used to think about that all the time, but see, I was young. You know, when you're young, this is one thing I learned. When you're young, you're fearless.
Yeah.
That's why I teach girls now, like, not to take on the responsibility of their mothers because, you know, it's not their responsibility. It's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not fair. And I did that. And I wouldn't recommend, like, if my children, I would never have them do that for me because it's not fair. You know, I don't know how my life would have been different had I not felt like I had to, you know, look after my little brothers or whatever.
Yeah. So, do you move up in weight or do you stay?
Yeah, I moved up all the way. I moved up. I moved up pretty fast, and then I moved up in weight. You know, I started selling weight and everything, and the guy I ended up with, he was a pimp. He's my best friend. I love him. Like he's my everything. He's my real best friend, and he's my family. He's my brother. All of that. But you know, he was telling me like, you know, change up or whatever. So he ended up introducing me to the whole escort world and all that. So that's how I ended up with the escort services, and then I stopped selling drugs.
Okay, so at what age are you when you dive into the escort service?
I want to say probably like 22, 23.
Okay, so you're done with school. You got one child, and so describe your escort service? How does that work?
Okay, well, right before I got into the escort thing, my little brother's girlfriend was killed, and so my little brother's girlfriend was killed. So I adopted his daughter too. So now I have two children.
Okay, how was she killed?
In the car. Somebody ran them off the road. She broke her neck when she hit a tree and she broke her neck.
Damn.
And I had her daughter and my daughter. So now I had two. I had both of my girls.
Okay.
And then my best friend, my partner, he kept, you know, he had girls or whatever, but you know, he kept telling me like, you know, change up. But he ended up taking a charge for me. I don't know if you remember Kruger. Remember Kruger?
The name does not ring a bell.
The officer. He used to be around all the hotels in Chambly. He was a black cat.
Okay.
Anyway, he had busted us one time, and we went to jail, and he ended up taking charge for me. He was my partner.
Where was you living at? Where was you living at when you got busted?
I was living in Gwinnett.
Okay.
But we was in Chambly when we got busted. But when he got out, you know, I was grown up. He was grown up then, and he ended up like introducing me to some girls who was doing the escort thing or whatever. And I dipped into that world. And I ended up just bumping into a girl. She was financially behind and she needed help with her business. And I was willing to invest. And so she ended up teaching me a lot of that.
What kind of business was it?
What did you say?
What kind of business was it?
It was an escort service.
Okay. So how did you run your I don't know what if you call it a stable or your crew, or how does that operation?
I tried to be as professional as possible. I made girls sign a consent form saying what went on between two consenting adults was completely out of our hands. It was strictly for escorting. It was, you know, I made the girls keep a good weight, and I tried to keep them as classy as possible. I didn't let them just come into my office any kind of way. I tried to run my escort service how, you know, it wasn't like hot, you know, it wasn't like you couldn't tell it was prostitutes or girls walking in and out or whatever. And really, I never knew what they, I just owned the service.
Right.
And the service is actually just for a girl to escort a man.
Right.
Wherever they want to go. And that's it. And that's all I know.
Okay. So at the top of your reign, how many would you say you employed at one particular time?
I've had up to like 25 girls at one time.
What?
Yeah. I've had a lot of girls at one time. At one point, and because once I learned, you got to remember I had a lot of street money too. So once I learned, I really was like, taking off with it. So.
And where are your clients coming from?
I had, I don't know if you remember all those magazines that used to be in the front of the store, like sex shops and strip clubs, but they're free magazines. There was one called Excitement, one called Late Night, one, all these magazines, Creative Loaf, and we would advertise everywhere. And I would buy like a lot of the pages in the books so I could, have a lot of good clientele. I made a lot of good clientele.
Okay, so what is an average night for, let's say you got a girl or a young lady, and what is there a goal for the night, or what's the average income for one person?
I've seen nights where I made $20,000 in a night.
Wow.
I've seen nights when I made only $200. So it's just it didn't really matter the day or what was made. It just I had the drive to make something. I didn't.
And how do you keep 25 people in line or on point?
I'm really, really, really about, I guess if you're faced with having to take care of your siblings, you do what you have to do. So, okay. That's one thing I can't stand, that by any means necessary mentality. I try to break our youth from that. Now, all the mistakes that I made in life, I really try to teach. I'll try to teach girls, like, don't do that, baby. But, this generation is parentless. These little girls are so bad. Right. They don't want to hear it, but
okay.
I kept them in line because, I had to keep everything in line. It came easy to me, though. I'm a Gemini, so it's kind of like, Geminis, they're really, they're in tune with their hustle. Whatever they got going on, they're going to finish it. They're going to make it happen. There's nothing that you can't put up against the Gemini that they're not going to come out with.
So did you ever have to get physical with any of your girls, or it wasn't that type of operation?
I have, but no, it wasn't that type of operation. I have had to do that, just not seriously, no. It was more, it was a business.
Okay. You ever had any run-in with the laws where some of them got arrested, or?
Yeah, I have, but see, that's the thing. They could get arrested, but it never had anything to do with me. So then now, when this happened, it was actually my best friend that, was going on the call. So it was a difference. Okay. So I was trying to really she never really told me what happened. So I just was like, I really didn't know what happened, for real. I never really knew what happened until I got, seen on the news that this man had died. Okay. But all I really did was link the call. An escort service call, hey, I have a call.
Okay. So you're at Alto right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so is this your first arrest, or?
Yeah, pretty well. I've been arrested one time before.
For what?
And I was arrested in King Street, South Carolina, for trafficking cocaine.
Okay.
But they threw those charges out.
How much dope was it, allegedly?
It was probably maybe 9 ounces, something like that.
And how did they throw it out?
Because they when they arrested me, The guy that was driving, he was a juvenile. He was only 17. And the drugs and the gun was in the middle console. Okay. And they only arrested me in the car. There was 2 other people in the car. They only arrested me, so they really didn't have a case.
Okay. Of course you were lawyered up.
Yes.
Okay, so how much time did you spend behind bars fighting it?
Well, I stayed in jail for like 3 months. And then they messed up because, see, it was a really small town. And they really just wanted to let that boy go. Okay. And when they let him go, that's because, you know, they somebody probably knew his parents or something or other, but it messed up the case. They would have had a case on me had they not let him go. Okay. Because they would have been, you know, really, you got to think about it. It's automatically the driver, actually. You know, if you find something in the console of a car, there's no way that the driver gets away, correct?
Yeah, but you know what? I got pulled over one time. It was like, remember back in the day when on Sundays, Mosley, Maddox, and Grant Park was like the places to be. So me and my homeboy, we was riding down Glenwood, and we got pulled over. But he was a juvenile, so we got caught with some weed, and we was just smoking. So it wasn't a whole lot. And they said, "Well, y'all want to go to jail or you want to take a ticket?" I wasn't driving, but they gave me a ticket, and I ended up losing my license behind it. But from my understanding, they try to, the juveniles, I don't know if it's harder to prosecute a juvenile, but a lot of times they will let them juveniles go about their business if they have some person who is of age to pin that charge on them.
Okay.
But that's just, you know, my minor experience. So how long is your run in the escort service?
It was like 4 years.
That's a pretty long run. That's a long run.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how does it come to an end?
Well, they ended up putting me on America's Most Wanted for this case that I'm in here for now. Yeah, they put me on America's Most Wanted for this case because I was out. Like, you know, I wasn't. The only reason why I didn't turn myself in was because I was already. No, you know what? Actually, I had another charge in Gwinnett County, too. I had another trafficking cocaine charge in Gwinnett County. The charge in South Carolina, that never even showed up on my record. So the charge that I had in Gwinnett, they was trying to give me 5 years for. Had I took those 5 years, I wouldn't even be fighting this case right now. So, you know, when God tries to save you, listen to him.
Thanks.
You know? So, they actually, I was on the run already. So when this happened and I seen it on the news and they're saying that they wanted me for questioning, there was no way. I was like, oh, no, I'm not going in for questioning because, you know, I'm going to go to jail when I go in for questioning. I didn't, you know, I was young kind of still. I was like 29. You know, I was kind of young still then.
Okay, so how do you get on America's Most Wanted? Like, what's the charge that you're up under now?
Murder.
Okay, so
I'm under a murder charge, but I've never even seen this guy. I've never seen him. Never seen him one day in my life. I own the escort service and I linked a call. My co-defendant is out right now. They let her out. In all honesty, it's like basically what it's saying is a pretty face in Georgia will get away with murder because, like, you know, I mean, big ups. I'm happy that she's out or whatever, but it's just like, dang, you know, I didn't really, I sold drugs. I wasn't a murderer.
Okay, so how did they, because okay, so when they do catch you for this charge, where you at? Were you in Georgia or?
I was in Houston, Texas.
How you get to Texas?
Well, I mean, I was on the run. When I was on America's Most Wanted, I pretty much went everywhere. I went to Orlando first. I stayed there. They played an episode that said the last place you was seen was Orlando. I packed up that night. I went to North Carolina, to Miami, and from Miami, I went to Austin, Texas. From Austin, Texas, I went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I got comfortable in Baton Rouge. I ended up living in Baton Rouge, and that's where I was living when they when they was like, you know, they seen me there too. So a lady I had helped her to open a bonding. I mean, she was really in tune with everybody that was in the city or whatever. So she called and she was like, hey, you know, these people are saying that they seen you in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is small.
Okay.
So I left there, went to California. I stayed in California for maybe 3 weeks to a month. And then I was like, you know what, let me just get settled somewhere. So I settled in Houston. And I stayed in Houston for about 6 months. And then they came back.
Okay, so when you move to these different states, are you knowing anybody there, or you just moving?
No, I didn't know anybody there.
Okay, and from a personal perspective, when you see yourself on TV on America's Most Wanted, like, what are the thoughts that are going through your mind?
They was lying on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, they made the show. I'm going to be honest with you. They made a couple of shows about this story, but none of them were real. None of the shows were real. They made a story, did it for my woman. They pretended like one of the boys and me was going together. I've only had 2 boyfriends my whole life. Like, that was a lie. Okay. On America's Most Wanted, they made it seem like I was this vicious pimp. Like bitch, and I'm a loving, nurturing woman. Like, it's like nothing like that. It's just nothing like me. So, that's how they made it seem on there. It was just, when I seen it, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like, are you serious? But that's just how, you know, TV does. Yeah, yeah. This is the first time I've ever, like, when I got caught, they asked me, you know, what happened. I told them, you know, English. I never have even spoke on it, you know, because it's what was there to speak on. Like, it's just, you know, what it is. But,
okay, so you're in Houston, Texas, and so they kick the door down, they pull you over, or what's how?
No. It's really weird because nobody knew where I live. But so, you know, I don't want to incriminate anybody either.
Okay, I usually, like, when I'm talking to certain people, I use fake names. Okay.
Well, anyways, so a girl that was working for me, she was booking calls for somebody in Atlanta. And when...
Oh, so you were still, you were still had the escort service.
Oh, yeah, that's how I work.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time I was on the run. But, so what was I about to say? Oh, yeah, so she was booking calls for somebody in Atlanta. Well, they bumped into like a prostitution sting. And when the police got these guys, they asked them, did they know where I was at? And they was like, no. They arrested them. And they tried to make them tell them, like, where is she at? But they didn't know either. But the girl who was my assistant, she was my personal assistant. She was with me side by side for a long time. I mean, that would be the only way that they could have knew where I was at.
And is she involved in the case, or she just...
Not at all, but she, you know, the FBI, they'll scare you.
Yeah.
So no, she's not involved in the case, but she just involved herself.
And so in Houston, Texas, they pull you over or they come to your house?
They came to my house.
Okay, can you describe that?
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of them. And I had a boyfriend at this time from Louisiana, and it was me and him in there. And my dog, I had a Chihuahua. The dog was about to eat him up. The dog was going crazy. They was like, man, get your dog. It's a little bitty Chihuahua. And the dog was acting like a pit bull. But anyways, so, you know, I didn't want them to lock him up for harboring a fugitive either.
Yeah.
So I was just basically like, hey, I didn't want them to lock him up either. So I basically was like, you know, this is just a dude I just met. Like, at first, you know, I tried to play around with him. Like, I was like, so, because they came with a picture of my mother that was weird. And I was like, that's not me. And I started showing them, like, marks on the lady, like, that's not me. So then...
So you and your mom look alike, or...?
We do, but they, you know, the police are so tricky. They wanted me to say that's my mom.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're tricky like that, but no, I'm street. So I was like, that's not me. Period. Like that is not me. I was like, look at this lady. She got all these, you know, that's not me. They was like, well, do you know this lady? No, I do not know this lady. Period. I don't know who that is. But then they was like, well, let me see your tattoos. So I was like, hey, just go ahead and roll me out.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't about to keep going back and forth. So that was how I got locked up. And then when I got to Harris County, I ran into this Mexican lady. She said, baby, let me pray for you. I said, no. I don't do well when people praying for me, no. And I was just telling a friend about this today. So we ended up being cool, me and the lady, because we started talking or whatever. So when they called my name, they like me. She was like, I was like, well, I was scared because I was about to face my fate. So I was like, why did you want to pray for me? She said, because baby, you seem like one of those people that don't believe anything you don't see. I want to pray for God to come into your life and show you that it's him. And I was like, okay. And I let her pray for me. But she was telling me that the reason why, she was like, that's a powerful prayer. And she was like, her son didn't believe in God. However, she prayed for him, and, you know, something had happened to him where God showed up vividly. Man, I got in the van to get extradited. We flipped over within an hour of me being in that van.
What?
Like, we flipped over. I have a scar from my shoulder all the way to my elbow.
So, what, y'all crashed into somebody or something?
The driver was doing like 100 miles per hour. I was like, I kept screaming like, please, please, please. We ended up in a tree. Yeah, we crashed into a tree. He was in a tree. The driver died. I told him to slow down. I'm telling you, he was dead. The driver was dead. The passenger driver's back was broken. One man's back was broken. The only thing that was wrong with me was my arm was messed up. Like but I did have to get surgery because I lost so much blood. But
was there a lawsuit to come along with that or no?
Yeah, but they tricked me with that too because, you know, wherever you have a civil case, you can't file a lawsuit. You have to file it from the next county. It was just a lot with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up having to settle out of court for a penny. But yeah.
So how long do you stay in the hospital?
I stayed in the hospital about 3 weeks.
Okay. And so you come out of the hospital and you go to Harris County Jail?
No. Now I was in Fulton County, Wright Street.
Why are you at Wright Street?
I got extradited.
Okay.
So, you know, I was in Harris County. That's when I flipped over in the prison van on the way to Atlanta, to Georgia, to Wright Street.
Gotcha. And you got one driver is dead, and the other officer breaks his back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how long were you at Fulton County?
I stayed at Fulton County fighting my case for about a year. It was really emotional. If anybody, trial is the worst. It takes so much out of you. It's traumatizing almost. You know, you be so cold, so hungry. It's traumatizing. And then they found a whole bunch of people to come and testify against me saying, oh, she's a drug dealer. She sells drugs, you know. But that's a fact. You know, it's like, dang. Because the system is so dirty. Like, they are so low down. They'll coerce anything to, you know, take somebody down. But
Okay. So you go to trial, and the people that they got coming to, I guess, to testify, these crackheads or what
yeah, a whole bunch of crackheads. Like, would you let crackheads babysit your kids? No. These people, like, I mean, I'm not saying, like, some of them, yeah, okay, my mom, she smoked crack. But, like, those people that, they wouldn't let no crackhead babysit for them, but they put my life in their hands. Right. You know, you could get them $1 and tell them anything. Can I Call you right back. The phone's getting ready to hang up. I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Call, okay?
All right.
Bye bye. And it was traumatizing for real.
Okay.
And I never even seen this man. But, I'm remorseful because I'm somebody's mother's sister, aunt, and friend. So, I know that, a life was taken. So, I had to do time because I did play a part. I hooked up a date, and I had to grow up, because if I would have dialed 911, I probably wouldn't have been here, or it would have been different.
Yeah.
But the system is so crooked to the point where they coerce these people and tell them what to say. And I was the only one missing, so of course they labeled me the mastermind. And I have a family, I have children,
Yeah.
I did 15 years, like it's time for me to go at this point.
So you've been locked up since what year?
Yeah, I've been locked up 15 years.
16 years. What year? So what year did you get arrested?
It was 2009.
2009. And when you how many days was the trial?
It was like 7 days.
Okay. And so when they before they said guilty or not guilty, did you already assume what it was going to be, or?
No. I was really oblivious. I did not know this guy. Like, I didn't know that you can get a charge like that for, and not even be there. Like, I got this charge. I wasn't even there. I never seen this guy.
Okay, so
I was remorseful. I was really, really, really down in the dumps and sad because I was like, dang, somebody's life got taken.
Quick question: did you put an earpiece in or something? Because I hear a little static when you talk now.
Oh, hold on, that's the fan, maybe. What about now?
Yeah, you good. So
okay.
the young lady, the escort that dealt with this individual, where is she at?
She's out. She got out.
How much time did she get?
She did 15 years. She had a life sentence, but they just let her out. The integrity unit in Fulton County just let her out.
Paroled out or?
No, I believe they dropped out charges on her.
Okay, so this is a case that you're still fighting.
Mm-hmm.
What year were you on America's Most Wanted?
2009.
Okay.
It was like March 2009.
Okay, so after they say guilty and you go back to your cell, what's going through your mind?
I was praying, for an answer. Like, what should I do? Should I take a plea? Because the plea was like 25 years. And I was like, God, just give me a sign. And, I just was praying for a sign. But it was very emotional because I did live a street life. That's why every chance I get, I tell anybody that's a youth, and I kind of get stuck there. And it's actually frustrating because these teenagers and young adults nowadays, they're just a whole different type of people.
Right.
But I be like, baby, please listen. Like, decision making is so important. Don't ever let nobody rush you into making any kind of decisions. Take your time. Don't burn bridges. Don't ever take on the responsibility of your mothers. There's so many things that I be trying to tell the youth because it's like, dang, I wish somebody would have been there to tell me.
Right.
And even though I never seen this man, I have to take responsibility because, I was hooking girls up on calls daily. Whether it be to feed my family or however, it if something goes wrong, you're supposed to report it to the authorities, and that's a part of being a upstanding citizen. So I know that now I just have to, keep a clean slate because I know what type of person I am. I'm I know how I am.
Okay.
But
so
yeah,
when you get found guilty, do they give you your time on that day, or do you come back for sentencing?
No, they gave me my time right then.
And you were sentenced to how much time?
I was sentenced to life.
Okay. And after your sentence, how long are you in the county jail?
I only stayed in the county for about 3 weeks after that, and then they shipped me off to prison.
What prison?
Alto, the Arendelle State Prison.
So you've been at Lee Arendelle for 15 years?
No. I left and went to Pulaski. And then, hold on one second. Where were we?
Pulaski.
Okay.
So you were originally sent to Alto, then you stayed there for how long before you were sent to Pulaski?
About 2 years.
Okay.
I did a lot of trades at Pulaski. I got culinary arts. I did computer technology here. I did auto body and paint here. I've taken a lot of groups.
That's crazy because I took culinary arts at Alto State Prison for like 4 years. Well,
really?
it was a 2-year program. I think it was ran by Middle Georgia Tech or North Georgia Tech, and then I came back as a teacher's aide. But we was hustling in that bitch. Like we in here eating lamb chops and ice cream and shit. But the kitchen there, I was there before the kitchen got there, and then because that used to be a chow hall, and then they moved all that industrial kitchen equipment in there. Chef Tootin, a guy from Louisiana, put that program together. But
how long were you incarcerated?
For a decade. And I took auto body and painting. I took literally every trade they had at Alto, and I took the computer class. I was just like everything, because in my mind I was like, the only thing that determines if a person stays out or comes back is education. So I was like, I need to learn as much as possible. So I literally took everything that they had. So in the male facilities, when you come in, you got to prove yourself. You got to justify your ignorance to sum it up. So did it ever get physical, or what's the temperament in the female facility?
Oh yeah, I got in a lot of, I've never let anybody take anything from me. So, and I've been pretty blessed the whole time I've been here. In the beginning, I didn't know how to really make it in prison because I hustle different. It's like the girls, and I'm not speaking down on anybody or anything, don't take this, but they steal out of the kitchen or wash clothes or whatever. So, I was trying to figure it out for a long time.
Yeah.
On how to, make money and survive, because when you have a long sentence, you don't want to be dependent on anybody other than you.
Right.
So, yeah, I had to figure it out. And then, I've been through some stuff, like, I've been in some altercations and got in fights and stuff.
Do you remember your first altercation?
My first altercation in prison, this girl, cigarettes, they cost at the time, $300 a pack. They're $500 now, but anyway.
Wait a minute, wait, what?
Yeah, they're $500 a pack now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So this girl, I had holding my cigarettes because I was hot when I first got to prison for some reason. Girls, they tell on you all the time.
Yeah.
So, it was just telling on me.
So you still came with that boss mentality. You weren't washing no clothes. You on the $300 cigarettes.
No, yeah, no, not at all. So, So yeah, this girl I had holding my secrets, her girlfriend, she had stolen me. She was like, I talk real proper. They thought I was like real lame or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh no, I got in a fight with the girl right there when she took the cigarettes. And so it's just like I've been in some fights. I've lost fights. It's just I'm just not going for anything.
Yeah.
Nowhere. I don't care where I'm at. I'm not just going for anything. But I've grown up. So I try now, I mentor the youth. I started a group back here called GEMS, Girls Empowerment Motivating Sisterhood.
Okay.
Which, I taught our youth a lot of stuff. I had got them some mentors, and we would just eat together every week, but every week I taught them a really valuable lesson. Just like it's so important for our youth to know not to take on the responsibility of their mothers, because that's something that I see it a lot. And then I also see a lot of girls taking charges for guys. And that's just not, I really try to teach them not to put themselves in those kind of situations.
Are you writing?
Do what now?
Are you writing?
Am I writing?
Yeah. I mean, because when I hear you talk, I hear you talk about the program, it just seems like some literature ought to come with it.
Oh, no. I mean, I still have a lot of the stuff that I taught them, I taught them like life rules, things that are important in life, like, not burning bridges, to kill the by any means necessary mentality. That's just the slum, a low life mentality. It really is. And it's like, it's just that mentality will get you in a world of trouble. Decision making, that is the main thing I was teaching them.
And this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that we talking about some street stuff, but then your internal message is something that will be beneficial to people on the inside and the outside. And while I was at Alto, that's actually where I wrote my first 2 books at. And when I came home, that was how I was paying my bills.
What was your books? I might have read them.
Shawty was actually they had a book club there at Alto, and there was a Jewish lady there by the name of Susan Slayer. She used to run book club.
I know Slayer, Miss Slayer.
Yeah, some of the ladies read the book. They had one.
So it's called Shawty?
Yep.
I'll have to make a note to
read
that.
But I found that people who have, knowledge or understanding or perspective, and it seems like you have your own guidelines. You got an obligation to a younger you or an individual who could be going through or about to go through something, and you have the ability to alter their journey. So within that, I encourage you to write, and the business mind that you have. I'm not going to talk your head off about it, but there's no reason your story or your curriculum shouldn't be a bestseller. Why aren't we going from America's Most Wanted to America's bestseller?
I wrote some books. But, I got discouraged. The first book I wrote was I wrote it and I sent it to my best friend. She lost it, so that just crushed me.
Okay.
Because your first book is always your best. Well, to me, it was so good. I just could not do it again. It was just like, man.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stay on you about that. Yeah. So how do you stay busy?
I read, I mentor,
What are you reading? Meditate. What are you reading right now?
The last book that I read was called No Excuses.
I don't know why that sounds so familiar.
But yeah, I read, and I was doing trades. Like, I got in a little bit of trouble So
What kind of trouble?
They won't give me a detail. So I'm back in the door.
What kind of trouble? If you don't mind me asking. And if you don't want to talk about it, just say.
No, it was just like I got in some trouble with, like they found a cell phone in my room or whatever. But I learned my lesson. I ain't fooling with no cell phones no more. So, Yeah. But I just, now I'm just trying to I'm trying to find a lawyer, and I'm really trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I need to get out of here. Like, this place is just so different. It's different from, it's the youth. Like, this last generation it was a parentless generation. Like, really, nobody taught these girls how to bake no cookies, no nothing. Like, it's like they just came up without any kind of, like, everybody just gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody cares anymore. But I care. I care. So, but I don't know how far that's going to take me, but I do.
Are you going to the law library, or are you just?
I was. I haven't been in the last month, but I will start back on now.
Okay. If you could say something to the 15-year-old you or the 12-year-old you when you got your first pack, what would you say to yourself?
Maybe stay in school. Do not, just get slow money. It's okay. Like, do not even try it because it's just not worth it. Nothing is worth losing your life, being away from your family, being in a place where you have to carry a weapon, sleep with a weapon under your pillow. It's just like.
So wait, y'all, hold on, wait, y'all sticking each other up in the female facility too?
Oh yes.
What?
Definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
Man. So have you witnessed somebody getting stuck up?
Oh yeah.
You care to shed some light on that?
Times. Yeah, they do that all the time. Like, everybody has a weapon, and I used to be one of the ones to be like, baby, put that down, fair fight and all that, but no, not no more. I'm like.
Can you give me a good chain gang story?
Let's see. I have a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I don't know, like, what kind. One thing I'm gonna say is I learned a lot in prison, and prison did do a lot of correction in my life. And some people, they get in prison and they're at a standstill mentally, they're stagnant, or they don't come out better. But I definitely learned a lot about me in prison, and like I know for a fact that I have what it takes to make it in the world. But let's see, something that happened in prison. Well, I don't know how to even or where to go. Prison story. Let's see. Do you know one? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What kind of prison story? Like something that's happened while we've been here. It's so much has happened. It's like you can't. It's kind of hard. It is. Okay. Well, we like the gang fights and stuff like that. Ooh, I've watched girls like pop. When the doors pop, beat a girl out of their bed with locks and beat them down to the ground. Like, and then we lose our compassion as women in here. We'll see a girl laying on the ground bleeding and step right over and go to the water fountain. And I'd be like, dang, where's my compassion at?
Because it's traumatizing, and as humans, we are jesters. I remember being in, y'all in B unit. I was in F2. F2 used to be like, we used to call it that stupid deuce, because it was just like, whenever you got in trouble and you came out the hole, your ass was going to F2, and it was like.
That's it now, here too. F2 is, oh, shit. That shit is bad.
Yeah, it was like gladiator school. I remember one time we was watching. This was a long time ago. We was watching Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in the playoffs, and it was a dude on the top range, and I don't know where my boy got the lawnmower blade. Well, I assume he got it from a lawnmower, but he had a lawnmower blade, man, and old boy was coming out of the shower, and he stuck his ass up. When I tell you, it wasn't even like a commercial break. We just all went back to watching the game like it wasn't nothing.
Yeah, because you learn to mind your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you learn to mind your business. And it's sad because, for real, honestly, I've almost lost my life, like, trying to save a child. And here, like, the same little girls that I bare my soul to, they'll turn on me for their game. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't care.
So the gangs is big in the female prison?
Yeah, the gangs are huge, yeah. It's a lot of them here.
Okay, and do you have to pick a side, or can you be a civilian, or how does that work?
I was a civilian, but it gets deep. So, you know what I'm saying? It gets deep. They be like, you need to pick a side. Right, Bree? Like, it gets deep. Like, they'll be like, you need to pick a side. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, you know, if I want to pick a side, I would have chose the gang. I ain't picking, you know what I'm saying? But it's just, it be like that. The gang stuff, like, right now, you know, the gangs, they tell, they snitch, they do all the snitching, and they tell on everything that goes on. And, you know, and then they tell just to look at their girlfriend. Yep. Stupid shit. Like, they don't care if you got to feed your family or, you know, whatever. They tell everything.
Okay, so has somebody got stuck up in y'all dorm?
And somebody got what?
Stuck up in y'all dorm.
Several times.
Do you remember?
They just went and woke a girl up out of her sleep, poked her up like 17 times.
Why?
17 times. And in our dorm, well, not the dorm I'm in now, but the dorm I just came from. The dorm I just came from, I never went to sleep without a weapon.
What dorm was it?
F2.
That's crazy. It got to be some spirits over F2.
Yeah. It's some spirits in F2, ain't it? It's been like that. We've been saying that. Years. Man, it's crazy you said that. Yes, it's bad over there. It's bad over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that done got killed over there. We had a guy that got killed, and how Alto transitioned to a female facility is this guy by the name of Boatwright. In E2, no, E1 or E2. They tricked him in the cell and they choked him out. They was gonna rape him, but he tried to buck, and then when he bucked, they ended up killing him. But then they still raped him. So the GBIs came and they was like, y'all got too many murders, too many robberies, too many acts of violence. And then his family sued the state. And I remember they started shipping us out of Alto, and they started shipping the females there. But it's been in B unit, there have been a lot of deaths. A lot of people that died in B unit.
Yeah, they still dying. The numbers are still definitely going up. They dying, baby. Yeah, so that's not nothing new.
That's crazy.
Dying.
So I'm gonna start my recording.